Hey guys, Dominic here, and I just want to do a quick video to share with you kind of like a golden nugget because in the last 2 weeks I had the privilege of meeting people because I went back to the army for reservists and I met this serviceman who left a very big impression on me. And the reason why is because from, when I go back, we do very long hour shifts. We do like 12 hours of shift work, right? And usually people at the end of the day, after the 12 hours, they're kind of like turn off, zone out, shack already, very tired, right? But I noticed that this guy from start, early in the morning when I meet him all the way to like 12 hours later, he's always very sharp and he's constantly being able to focus and he's able to also bring his point across very energetically, and that's how he speak. He's like this from morning to the evening, and I got very curious because I have this obsession, I have this obsession of finding out how people do what they do, what drives people, what really motivates these people, what keeps them going. And so I kind of did a mini interview with this guy. Of course, I'm in an army camp, right? I was in an army camp and I do not have access to electronic equipments. No recording is allowed, kind of thing. So I couldn't do like a full-on interview with this guy. But just between me and himself, himself and I asked him this question. I asked him, hey, don't you ever feel tired like after a 12-hour shift? So I asked him that question and he says, yes, right? I mean, duh, like who wouldn't be tired after a 12-hour work shift, right? So I asked him, then what do you do when you get home? How do you keep up with your shift? Because he's 42 years old, maybe even older than that, and he has kids, and he also has obviously a family life, and he has heavy responsibilities in the army too. So I asked him, then what do you do when you get home? And to my surprise, he would tell me that the reason why he's able to upkeep his very fit body as well as his fitness, it's that he, after work, will go and run for 7 kilometers. I mean, listen to this, it's 7 kilometers, not 7 meters. 7 kilometers. Now, if any one of you have ever ran before, you should know that 7 kilometers is a very long time and it's a very long distance, sorry. And it takes for many people a very long time, maybe even half an hour or more, right? And not everybody has the kind of determination to exercise even once a week, but this guy does it every single day. And so I asked him this question, what drives you? And he looked at me kind of like pretty, I would say pretty calmly. And he says that at the end of the day, it depends on what you're after. For him, he's after this thing called fitness. And to him, he has held himself to a golden standard where fitness is. And so that's all that it drives him. I mean, honestly, I was pretty disappointed with his answer. Like, I was expecting that, because I want to save the world, that kind of things. But all jokes aside, that was my conversation with him. So then I also found out that after his 7 kilometers run, right, he will go about doing his exercises like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, though I didn't ask him whether he's able to do all of that in one go, but he seems like someone who can do it, by the way. And so there was a time when it left me very curious as to where he get his reservoir, or whether he has this hidden reservoir of energy. And we're talking about this guy who snacks as well, like the time when I was in a camp with him, I've seen him take snacks that many people would say as unhealthy. He will eat potato chips, he will eat all this, but he has this fitness, right? And so I asked him, aren't you afraid, you eat all this stuff, aren't you afraid that it will reduce your fitness level? And he says, no, right? And of course, that's where he revealed that he got this 7 kilometers run and this crazy daily exercise routine. And so I decided, because I was very inspired by him, right? So that I went to serve the army, do my reservist, right? So I decided that, hey, I want to go and do that as well. I mean, I didn't run 7 kilometers, okay? Before that, I wasn't even running that much, maybe only 2.4, right? But I decided maybe I'm going to go for a 3 kilometers run. So I went to run, I ran, and then after that for 2 consecutive days, right? After 12 hours of work shift. And I was super duper tired, but at the same time, I was also very driven. But there's something that I realized as well, which is really strange, is that after running, despite the fact that I was very tired physically and mentally as well after a 12-hour work shift, I went to run. I was very tired physically, but amazingly, by my third day, my fourth day, I found that in the day, I actually had more energy, which, for most people, including myself, I used to think that, hey, if I don't have any energy, right, then I don't use that much during the day. I don't go and exercise. But I've learned that the body, like everything else, requires training, that it requires you to break through. And again, this is where the Breakthrough Club is, where we are in right now, right? And in order to break through, I realized that instead of cutting back, if you want to have more energy, the idea is not to use lesser energy, but it's to train your body to provide more energy for yourself. Does it make sense to you? Right? I mean, you really got to test it yourself, okay? I'm not saying that exercise is the end all be all for everybody, but at least from where I'm concerned, I'm someone who has a lot of time on my end, okay? Right? I'm the passive income guy. I believe in having systems, automation, and all this stuff. So I have a lot of time for myself and my family. And very often than not, especially in the afternoon, I tend to feel a little bit lethargic, right? I'm kind of like a semi-retiree kind of thing. So I feel very tired most of the time at the afternoons. But ever since I decided to tap more on my body's potential, I realized that the trick to having more energy is to use more of it. Not to use any lesser, but it's to use more of it so that your body has this demand on it, and it will, one thing I've learned about the body is that they will learn to adapt. They will learn to adapt. And then once your body has adapted to that, guess what? It will start producing more energy to meet its supply. So this is for any one of you who's struggling with, let's say, energy problems. You don't feel that energetic in the day and stuff like that. Now that's one, okay? So you probably want to exercise more, challenge your body a little bit more, and really to have a breakthrough in terms of the attitude towards exercising, towards I don't know, jogging, running. I told him this. I said, the reason why I don't run that much, and I certainly don't run every day, is because when I was starting in my fitness journey, at one point in time, I was super duper overweight. I'm talking about like 90 kg kind of thing, close to 90. Now I'm back to like 80 plus, lower 80. Not that big of a difference, okay? But in terms of my energy, my muscle, my fitness level, this is at a whole new level itself, right? So instead of having just fats, I actually replaced with my chest muscles or these biceps. But when I was starting on my fitness journey, I actually had this trainer who told me that I shouldn't run that much, and I certainly should not run every day because I will hurt my kneecap. So I had this assumption within me that it's true, right? So when I asked this guy that I met in the army camp, running 7 kilometers a day kind of thing every day, doesn't it have any toll on your body? And that's the time when he looked at me and said, who told you that if you run every day, your kneecap would be damaged because of that? So I told him, it was an instructor from a long time ago, a trainer. And that was the time when he told me that, okay, so that's the assumption you had, right? But he told me, based on his observation, the reason why there are people who actually get injured after running, right, could be because they did not condition their body to take on that role of running. And then all of a sudden, they just go from 0 to like 7 kilometers in one go. So he told me that the trick to ramping it up to 7 kilometers is to start small, which made total sense. And ever since I have been running, right, 3 kilometers, sometimes I push myself a little bit, 3.2, that's where I am right now. And it has really done tremendous help and service to my level of energy. So that's just to share with all of you as well, that the trick to getting more energy in life is not to use lesser of it, but to use more of it. Challenge your body, condition it even more, and of course, I would love to hear from you. You can share with me how that tip, this advice have really helped you, maybe in terms of helping you change certain perspectives in your life. Because like for me, right, ever since I had this breakthrough in my thinking, that I realized that in order to get more, you gotta actually use more. You want to have more energy, you gotta use more energy to begin with, right? I have challenged a lot of the preconceived ideas I have about my business, about my industry, about my products, about the way that I do business, and even the way that I form my relationships with people around me as well. And he has challenged me to do a lot more in my life, which I'm not going to go into details right now. But yeah, so you may also not just use this in terms of improving your fitness level, but you can also use this tip. See how you can implement it in your own daily life with whatever challenges that you may be facing with right now. Would love to hear from each one of you how this advice have really helped you. All right, so till then, I will see you guys.